Yes, hello. We're going to talk about the Babylon Revisit story. And the overall conflict in this story is that the narrator wants his daughter back in his life. Um, but the aunt to the daughter um, doesn't really trust him, and she doesn't want him to get the daughter back because he's got alcohol abuse, or he used to have alcohol abuse. And Marion, as she's called, she think that he is responsible for the mother's death, Helen's death. She's very sad about that and upset about that. So yes, and she thinks it's his fault.
Yes. I'll take the second one, where we.
No, because I need to supply on the first one. So 2 points that we had as conflicts is if you go up in the corner, yes. So we figured out that we think he has an inner conflict about the past, because, for example, he had a lot of fun with Lorraine and Dunk, but there are like literally ghosts of, well, not literally, but they're ghosts of his past in some way, which means that, seeing them reminds him of the time where he was an alcoholic. I'm not sure I'm in the picture. And so he has an inner conflict about, because he also kind of blames himself for Helen's death, not like literally like he was part, like the reason, but he thinks that he was also complicit in it, because he keeps talking about he talks about one time that, for example, when he was really drunk, he did a lot of stupid things, and he talks about the time when he stole the tricycle, and he said that, that was stupid, but that was still like him as a person, but locking Helen out was not like him as a person, so he has, a bad conscience about that. And he also kind of blames himself because he keeps saying that it's not his fault, and he probably wouldn't have to keep reminding himself of that if he didn't partially think that it was his fault. And the other thing is that he wants his daughter back, obviously because he regrets being away and he doesn't want to miss her childhood, but also because he's lonely. Like at one point he says that Helen wouldn't want me to be this lonely. So it's also kind of selfish in wanting the daughter back because he is lonely. Yes.
Helt sikkert. 100%. Sorry. And we have the second step, or what do you call it, is focus on examples. And is wait, we have example for just what Luna told us about, like the thing that the Lauren and Duncan reminds him of, like the old days where he was an alcoholic. And we had a quotation which goes like this: Marion had made the sound O. In one swift, furious breath, turned her body away from him in a jerk and left the room. And this is where Lauren and Duncan came into the room, into the apartment, and kind of like reminding him of the old life and reminding Marion that he had this old life as an alcoholic abuse, and that's also why she won't let him have the child. That's more or less his, I think. Will you take the last one? Or should we just do like this?
Yeah, I just had an input because Marion, Charlie, he says that his wife died of a heart disease, and he says it in a tone that doesn't really matter to him. Whereas for Marion, it matters a lot, and she's like, yeah, she died of a heart disease, but in kind of a more sad way, because I think that she thinks that he kind of broke her and broke her heart, kind of. So yes, that's why she thinks that he is the reason why Helen died. Yeah.
Yeah, then we have the last one, which is just the Paris cityscapes, where he kind of describes Paris as the way he has seen it before, like because he's come back from America for a couple of years, where he'd been for a couple of years, I mean, and he kind of like takes walks through Paris and like sees all these kind of like glamorous restaurants and places, and we also use his quotations, which says cab horns playing endlessly the first few bars of Le Plus Quelon, where the trumpets of the Second Empire, it says there, where he left the bus or something like that early to take a walk for Paris at the Blue Hour, and then he kind of like goes into this stereotypical Paris vibe. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, and kind of a very wealthy society he's in.
Yes.
Yeah, and very expensive bars and clubs with live music and yeah, very posh.
Hush. Yes. That's it. Bye bye, Christian. Oh.